last week we talked about Anderson Cooper being very upset at the trailer for the movie The Dilemma, and in that trailer you have Vince Vaughn saying electric cars are gay. Right?
That's how the trailer really begins. He's at like a meeting, a board meeting. He's like making a pitch.
Right.
Right.
And he starts off by saying electric cars are gay. Now, GLAAD was upset about the trailer.
Anderson Cooper brought it up on the Ellen show.
Yes, and then Anderson Cooper brought it up on the Ellen show. So after all that pressure, Universal decided to take that portion out of their trailer. And
Anderson Cooper didn't even really object to it in the movie. He just thought it was a terrible way to sell the movie. That's what I understand, he said. I'm sure he wanted it out of the movie.
No, but he said, look, we shouldn't be using words like that in a disparaging way. So
Right.
he certainly objected to it I think in its entirety.
But he was well, part of what he said was that he objected that they used that to sell the movie.
Mm-hmm.
so Universal decided to take that word out of their trailer. And now Vince Vaughn is saying that he really hopes that they don't take it out of the movie. So I'm going to read you his quote. He told Deadline, "Let me add my voice of support to the people outraged by the bullying and the persecution for people for their differences, whatever those differences may be. Comedy and joking about our differences breaks tension and brings us together. Drawing dividing lines over what we can and cannot joke about does exactly that. It divides us. Most importantly, where does it stop?"
Okay. Ben, what do you think?
I agree with Vince Vaughn, 100%. You know, I would have given Don Imus a pass. It was joking. It was a bad joke, but it was a joke. You know, we don't have a right not to be offended in this country. It's something my brother says a lot, and I think it's a good point. And I think it's interesting that one guy's objection to it on Ellen caused all this. Like, Universal panicked a little bit. I was trying to find out the full quote from the trailer. I saw it, but I couldn't remember it. You know, it's impossible to find because of the sloppy reporting and all this. All it uses is the first part where it says electric cars are gay. Mm-hmm. But the full context of the joke actually mocks the use of that way that we use gay. I think he says electric cars are gay, not homosexual gay, but my parents are chaperoning the dance gay. Mm-hmm. Well, look, I think that's funny. Other people might not, but it's their attempt at comedy, and it's contextual. And obviously, I don't think we should be using, saying that's different than saying don't be gay. Mm-hmm. Like, and if we can't tell that difference, I mean, we ought to be able to tell that difference. And the people who write and perform comedy, they definitely need to be able to make that distinction.
Yeah, look, I am been clear on this throughout. When you're doing comedy, wide pass. Yeah. So I don't think this is anywhere near the point where you say, no, that's out of bounds even for comedy. It's not Michael Richards randomly yelling the N-word like 12 times in a row for no reason, right? Okay, even in the context of comedy, Michael Richards went too far, right?
Yeah.
This is nowhere near that. Now, on the other hand, look, Anderson Cooper has a decent point in why are we using the word gay, which means, homosexual, derisively. And it happens all the time, and somebody's got to draw the line somewhere, and so Cooper's drawing it. So I'm sympathetic to that.
So do I. It's a valid concern overall, but you don't want to start nitpicking individual lines in things that are supposed to be funny. It just isn't. And I think it's a mistake and sloppy reportage every step of the way when they just include that line, because the rest of the quote gives it context. You can still object to it. And in fact, some people object to it more when he explains it with the whole but not homosexual gay, my parents are chaperoning the dance gay. But it obviously builds, the whole point of it is the last part, but my parents are chaperoning the dance gay. That's the funny line. Mm-hmm. Everything else was to get to that line.
Right.
It's creative. I think we got to give him a pass.
Look, I agree with you 100%. And I think that the problem was in the trailer, they didn't give you enough context. Like, it just began with Vince Vaughn saying electric cars are gay, and then they moved over to something else.
You know what? That's a really good point. I wonder whether it would cause this big a stir.
I saw the trailer, and it had that line. It had the line.
No, but I think Anna makes a great point. Suppose that had happened 28 seconds into the trailer. Like, would it have been that the first words of the trailer of anybody talking was not something other than electric cars are gay?
Right.
Like, if it comes up after we've met these people, even in the limited amount of time of a trailer, I'm curious. That might have made a difference. That's an interesting point.
So
Right.
I think that was jarring. But even
think
given
that's
that,
what I'm- yeah, that's right.
even given that, I agree with you guys. You can't censor comedy like that.
No, it's not an open and shut case, but we do have a
Yeah,
decision.
we're sympathetic to the
Yeah.
losing side.
Yes, very sympathetic. Okay, but it's unanimous. Look, it reminds me of when they caught heat in what was the one where Robert Downey Jr. was playing the black guy?
Tropic Thunder, very similar.
Yeah, for saying retarded, right?
Yeah.
And so
And for initially for the blackface, there was some of that, and then you realize the context of that. Obviously, was
right.
okay.
We're nitpicking comedies too much now, okay? Like I get why, but when they say retarded in a comedy, they don't mean your, mentally disabled son.